I'm in the process of recording a series of videos for Foxy Openings on Pirc Defense, and as any Pirc player will know, one of the main challenges to that defense over the past 10-15 years has been the so-called 150 attack, where white lines up with bishop e3 and queen d2. This way of playing for white is basically an attempt to get an improved version of the classical system. White hasn't wasted any time with h3. He doesn't feel he needs to. He hasn't declared his intentions for the bishop on f1. This is a very important trump in white's hand. The bishop could be useful on e2, d3 or c4. We don't know yet. White is just delaying committing that bishop for the time being. And the basic idea is just to go bishop h6 as soon as possible and take away black's fianchetto bishop. The main point of this is that black's counterplay against white's centre loses a lot of its sting once the fianchetto bishop is gone, and black's king position is slightly weakened. So often after that sequence, white may start a direct kingside attack, or he may play in the centre. He can play with e5, he can just castle and use the central pawns to cramp black a little bit. And it's not at all easy to play against this system. It's really important when white sets up like this that black isn't able just to go knight g4. I think after that, bishop g5, h6, bishop h4. And the problem for white is that knight on g4 is in the wrong place. In a position like this, black really wants to go g5 and knight h5. Well, with that option no longer available, black's probably got to settle for something like knight c6, h3, knight f6. But there's no doubt about it, after castles on the queen side, white is definitely better. He can use the move h3 to start a kingside attack with g4. And black has had a hard time of it getting counterplay in this particular type of position. So basically, if we go back to queen d2, the move knight g4 isn't that great. So what should black do? Well, the first thing he shouldn't do is give up hope. And I'm going to show you a game from the Arctic Chess Challenge played in August 2010 between Grandmasters Mateusz Bartel, who's grades 2613 from Poland, and Marian Petrov from Bulgaria, who's grades 2535, where black actually displays a very good method, in my view, against this system by white. And he kicks off with c6. Now, it has hitherto been thought that a move like this is rather slow. White can just get on with his plan, bishop h6, and isn't black now worse? After all, white is just getting on with the job there. He's executing his idea, he's getting rid of the fianchetto bishop, and now, presumably, either the kingside attack or the cramp in the centre is about to start. Well, I'm not so sure. And I think the way Petrov plays in this game is very accurate and puts the question back to white. What exactly is white doing in this position? After all, the idea of bishop e3, then bishop h6, bishop takes g7, this has cost white 3 moves. So black uses that time to get some counterplay in the centre. And the queen on a5 is very useful, dissuading white from castling on the queen side, and also preparing the advanced e5, which stakes out a claim in the central zone. Now, in the game Bartel versus Petrov, white played h3. And I presume the main idea behind this is to prevent black from playing bishop g4. This idea of bishop g4 is seen very keenly where white just contents himself with piece play after bishop d3. Now I think black just goes e5. And there are 2 lines, but neither of these leads to anything for white. For instance, if he castles here, now we do play bishop g4. Takes. Well, why is black worse in this position? He's getting all his pieces out. Bishop takes f3 is definitely an idea. Black's going to play knight bd7, knight c5, rook e8. This is not so bad for black at all. And in these type of lines, you know, white could be left with a poor bishop on d3. So if we just drop back to bishop d3 again and now e5, white may play in a slightly better way by taking on e5 and then playing queen to g5. Again, I don't think this is especially dangerous for black, although that's the sort of thing they do in this system as white. I think black can play the calm move rook e8, and if castles here we go bishop g4, and once again, you know, white's got some difficulties with this knight. If he goes knight h4, hoping to land a cheapo, we play h6, and then we play knight bd7 with very easy and coherent development. In this position, the bishop on d3 is in precisely the wrong spot. So going back to bishop takes g7, king takes g7, h3, as per the game. Black now plays e5, and I think this position is quite okay for black. I don't see what's wrong with it. Well, Bartel started the attack with the thematic g4. He needn't have done this. He could have castled on the queen side, but then I think we go b5. Again, I don't see what's wrong with this. Black is threatening b4. Whether white takes on e5 or not, it doesn't really make much difference. He's still got to deal with the threat of b4. If he goes knight a3, we go knight bd7, and if he goes queen e3, it might be better not to play b4 for the time being and just content ourselves with queen b6. And I think black's got plenty of counterplay in this position. Black is not worse. So Bartel going back to the game, g4, rook e8, and already black's counterplay against the pawn on e4 is pretty serious. So Bartel kind of changes tack now and plays a move which is not often seen in this system, d5. Of course, the positional drawback of a move like that is you're making your bishop on f1 worse, and it's not really how white wants to be tackling this particular variation, particularly so after black's next move, the excellent queen b4. Black's queen is brought into immediately active play with a fork on e4 and b2, and I'm not quite sure that Bartel could believe how bad a position he'd got so early in the game using this recommended system. He tried castles. This looks very speculative to me, and in the modern style, black grabs the pawn. Computers have taught us that winning ugly is the new way in chess. It doesn't matter what you play, if you win the game, that's all that counts. So if that means just nakedly grabbing material whenever it's on offer and defending the position out, so be it. And this is exactly what black does here. He takes the pawn. He refuses to be intimidated by the so-called counterplay that white's getting here by getting all his pieces into the game. And now he starts a counter-attack with queen a4. Basically, in this position, I think white's a pawn down for nothing. I don't see any white attack. His bishop is worse than black's bishop. And black's counterplay on the queen side is every bit as dangerous as white's potential attack against the black king. So I think the 150 attack here has failed. Now, the way Petrov plays the rest of this game is interesting. He goes for a counter-attack. Again, that's very much the master's way. It's much better in modern chess to have the initiative than to grab and keep material in certain positions. So black plays his knight up to c5. This is not a case of winning ugly. This is a case of now changing the strategical aspect of the game. Black is now going after white's king with the idea of knight a4. A move which is not at all easy to meet. The game continued tactically. White played knight e4, black took on f4, and white captured on d6. There's a definite tactical sequence of events here taking place after knight takes c3 check. White parked his king in the corner, and now black played rook d8, and this forces white's hand as both his rook and his knight are on pre, so he's got to play rook d3. There's an exchange, and black plays bishop d7. Don't forget here, black is still a pawn up. Yes, white has passed pawn on d5, but it's on the wrong colour square, and black's own passed pawn on f4 is every bit as dangerous. White moves in, and again, seeking counter-attack and counterplay, Petrov plays the correct rook c8. It will be unwise for white to allow black's rook to come to the 7th rank, so he exchanges, which he doesn't want to do, and after c4, black plays the careful b6, holding up white's pawns. Now the kings come up. King b2, rook d8, king c3, king f6, and white brings his king into the centre. And now black plays bishop d7. Bishop f3, and now here's the sign that black's thinking about getting his own kingside pawn armada going. He plays h5. And after g takes h5, black plays bishop takes h3. Well, now comes quite an interesting position as Bartel plays rook h1. If he tries to deflect black in this position by playing h6, and if rook h8 then d6, I think black can hold this position. He goes rook takes h6, rook e7, we bring the rook back, he takes on a7, we go rook d8, he goes c5. Basically white's trying to force this passed pawn through to tie black down. We take bishop e6, bishop c6. Well, everything under control suddenly, and now we can play g5. And if a4 in this position, king e5. And this is the way black coordinates. This type of thing. Black's got everything under control. He's still a pawn up. The connected passed pawns on the king side should see black home. So sensing this, and going back to the game, this is why Bartel plays rook h1 first, before playing h6. But this kingside pawn armada is very, very strong. And unfortunately for white, his position's rather fragmented. He's operating on two areas of the board. He can't get his position together. He's operating on the king side. He's also trying to operate in the centre. I don't think the white position can actually withstand this, as you will see. Black presses home with g4, d6, g3, very much a race. Rook f1, well, that's a concession in itself, but what is he to play in this position? Very, very difficult. Basically, the pawns are going to race home before white gets the chance to land his own punch. So rook f1, bishop takes e4, king takes e4, rook takes h7, king takes f4, g2, rook e1, rook h1. Black is right on time. d7 check, and now a small refinement, which wins the game. Rook f1 check. White's king is driven to an unfavourable square, after which black either picks up the rook with check, or he queens with check. Or if he takes on f1, of course, white then g takes f1 equals queen check, and black wins. So that game intrigued me, going back to the position. What is all the fuss about? It seemed to me that black just played the most natural moves in the world here. c6, let white execute his plan. But as the game went, black's idea of e5 just gives him good chances. So I'll be intrigued to see what 150 players have against this plan, as it seems perfectly satisfactory for black, to me.